And there we are. Just bam, just live, bam.
Bam, there we are.
Episode 9 of What Katy Draws.
Yeah, which should have been last week, but both me and Sarah forgot it was Wednesday, so...
It happens. You know, when you work for yourself, you just have no concept of the passing of time.
You work like 7 days a week, like you forget what day it is.
In the middle of the night sometimes. Yeah, just like, if I feel like working and I'm here, let's do it.
And then it was like 4 hours later, we were like, oh wait, it's Wednesday.
And see, that messes me up the worst. When I get up in the middle of the night and work for like 6 hours and then get tired and go back to bed, I think that was a whole day. So now I'm on to the next day when I wake up, and it's still technically the same day. Calendar needs to keep up.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's when you work from home, because I mean, I tend to judge the weeks by my dad working, because he's usually free on weekends. But that particular weekend, I think he'd had like the Friday off or the Monday off or something, so it completely threw me for what day.
So it's your dad's fault. It's his fault. I see.
Dad's fault. Yeah. Yeah. So, this episode, I think I'm gonna do some hair tutorials, because Sarah's been asking me about how to draw hair for ages of different types.
I've been asking for hair for a long time.
I can't do anything. Well, I could like get the marker and draw, but yeah. So what I was thinking was, a long time ago started a picture with anatomy when I was doing anatomy studies, and I like taking different reference packs of ArtStation, because I buy them. And I've got loads of reference packs, but I was doing anatomy studies by drawing people in different poses. And one of these pictures, I thought, actually, that's kind of very classical mythology-ish. So it was kind of like a picture of the Pan from, the Greek mythology that I thought of. So I sort of changed him into a satyr or a faun or something, but I never actually finished him. And he's got loads of hair everywhere that is just very, roughly put in. So I thought we could maybe try and do something with him, because it is the summer solstice today, and it's a big thing with pagan-y sort of religions and stuff. So I thought it would be quite fitting today. So, and it does remind me of going to the Beltane Fire Festival in Edinburgh, which is amazing. It is so good. If you don't know what it is, it's the Fire Society. They do the whole. It's just incredible. They do like all these fire walking and fire poi and all these massive, they're like the Chinese dragons, but they did it with kelpies, with like horses and stuff at night, and there's big bonfires and everything. It's so cool.
Wow.
Yeah, and a big processional. Fun. Yeah, there's like the red. Is it the red people who are doing drumming and stuff as well, and they're like only wearing loincloths and stuff. So they just take over the whole of I think it's Carlton Hill in Edinburgh. It's amazing. But there's thousands of people go to it. So anyway,
sounds awesome.
It was pretty cool.
Sounds like something I would stay home for. Too many people, too much noise.
Yeah, it is. There's too many people watch it, but the actual event is amazing. I'll have to show you the photos at some time, because they always get people like dressed up as the green, like it's the metaphor of summer and winter and the Green Man and everything. It's absolutely amazing. So this kind of like reminded me of this painting when I was drawing it, because I used to love Renaissance artwork, when the pre-Raphaelites and stuff, with the really realistic sort of romanticized paintings of like knights and mythological creatures and stuff. I used to love that when I was a kid, so that's inspired me. So where's my screen? So here we go. This is my sketch. I kind of coloured it. I did it.
Sketch.
Yeah, I did it to start with. Right, which layer am I on? Too many layers. Right, this was the original sort of drawing of the the life drawing that I did of the guy. So then I added the legs and a bit of the hair, and then just put the colour in underneath. But because it's the shading is actually just the drawing over the top of the coloured bits. I can't speak today. I've not had enough sleep. So yeah, I was thinking that he has got quite a bit of hair that I haven't finished on it. So especially like with the legs, that's short hair, and he's got the long curly hair as well. So, and I probably should do his chest hair a bit more accurately as well, which is Just making sure I
Can't
need
have
to layer
an
everything.
inaccurate chest hair. Won't do.
Well, you say that, but I once did say to you for somebody else as a character picture, and the level of detail I went into for that thing was just ridiculous. But have I found it? Is this it here? Might be this one. See if this is the right file. This shows the insanity of the amount of detail I go into. Is this the finished version? Yeah. So I drew all of this by hand. Yeah, and that's 100%. So that's the size it was, and yeah, I'm not sure that is the finished one, but yeah, that's the chest hair I drew for that one. And I was even trying to get the paint like on the hairs, the body paint and stuff as well. So I'm not obsessed with detail at all.
Nah,
Nah.
that's perfectly normal amount of detail.
It only took me like weeks to draw it. Never mind. So I tend to just go in with the well, I don't tend to use different textured brushes. I tend to either just use the airbrush or the in clip. I use the oil paint brush, which is, as you probably noticed, is one of my favourite brushes. Oh, thanks. I was going to just check that the screen was bigger. So this is why I have Sarah here.
Everybody needs a Sarah.
Yeah. So, although I think you do
I
pretty
need
well
a
on your
Sarah
show as
too.
well.
I'm telling you, if I had a fish of my own, I'd get so much done. Man,
All right, I'm gonna
I'd be a rich man.
Need to figure out the technology behind the multiplicity,
Mm-hmm.
but being less mean to Andy McDowell. Like that movie was mean to Andy McDowell. The 90s were mean to Andy McDowell.
I don't know who that is without looking it up.
She is very very pretty, like generic white girl for the stereotype, like sort of southern quirky white girl love interest to the lead in the 90s. She had a ton of movies. She was in Groundhog Day too. She was the love interest in Groundhog Day.
I don't know if I've seen Groundhog Day. I've seen like things that's been based on Groundhog Day. Like there's a particular
She's got the curly hair.
Yeah.
Like that's the one thing that stands out to me.
Yeah, she's got like beautiful brown curly hair. John Travolta is an angel. I don't remember the name of that one, but she was in that one.
Oh, I thought you meant the one where he like gets touched by outer space or whatever, and it turns out it's a brain tumor.
Phenomenon. That one.
Yeah.
Is she in that one too?
I thought you were saying she was in that one, and I was like, oh yeah, but I can't remember who that was in that one.
I'm gonna look it up. I know she was in the one where he's like a drunk, surly angel that scratches his junk a lot, and
I have not
that's about
seen
all
this
I remember
one.
about him.
Yeah.
Honestly, that movie had, as weird as it is, that movie had a scene in it where when I was dating my ex, she made a joke off of that scene on the spot, and I laughed, and I was like, that's the first time a lady has ever made me laugh. Because like up until then, like everybody I dated would crack a joke of it. Yeah, that's funny. But this actually like made me almost pee. And
oh, it's good when that happens.
That sealed my fate.
I think it's actually hard. I think like people with like genuine senses of humor, like really good ones, are really few and far between. I thought that everybody was as sarcastic as I am, and then no, it's not a thing.
Like my whole family is constantly cracking jokes and cracking on each other, and like I have never been prouder than like when my kids busted on me and nearly made me cry. I was so proud. And one time, my middle son ate a dog biscuit and was like, "Oh man, this is good, Marcus. You got to try it." To his older brother, and Marcus is like, "I don't know." He finished it. He's like, "Dude, it's so good. You've got to try one." And Marcus is like, "Man, I don't know." So he eats a second one. He's like, "Man, I'm gonna eat the whole box if you don't." So Marcus ate one and spits it out. He's like, God, this is disgusting. He's like, I know. And I was never prouder than his commitment to a bit to eat two of them just to get his brother to eat one. I was so freaking proud I could have cried. And then I realized, like, not everybody else cracks jokes all the time or picks on each other. When I met my wife, I was like, all right, dudes, look, go easy on them. These are soft-skinned people. They're not used to this. You're going to make them cry. Don't make my girlfriend cry.
It got to ease her into that stuff.
They've been easing her in. And, like, this has gotten to where she'll start throwing out some jabs, too, which makes me proud. And Eli tries to hold up. Colby's still kind of on the fence about, she feels bad if she cracks a joke on the boys. She's like, I don't hurt their feelings. I was like, this is how we show our love. Make fun of them. Like, there's a couple things you don't pick on, but make fun of them otherwise.
I think it was Dee that said that it's like she'd got some comments about, about the comic. It's like, oh, Heidi's picking on you. And it's like, no, but a lot of people just, like, tease each other as part of the relationship. It's like...
Yeah, they were, like, genuinely worried whenever she'd post a comic that had Heidi kind of picking on her, and she was like, people would genuinely message her wondering if she was okay because Heidi was abusive or something. Yeah.
It's something like she kept poking her.
This is our love language. Like, this is how I show I love you, is I pick on you.
Yeah. And when I first started dating Jeff and he met my family for the first time, we came back from that and he's like, you guys are so mean to each other. I was like, what? I just, like, genuinely no idea he was confused and taken aback by that until he said something. I was like, I thought that was not bad. I thought everybody was, like, on their best behavior because you were there and you're saying they were mean. I was like, no, I had no idea. That's just the way we always have been. And I'm usually pretty quiet at our family gatherings, so when somebody would be snarky to me, he was like, they're so mean to you, and I was like, that's just the way they always are. I don't know.
I know one person, well, I know a couple of people like this, but, like, if they're polite to you, that means they don't like you very much. If they're completely ripping the piss out of you all the time, that means they really like you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how good friends, like, you're a good friend when you can just be a dick to each other all the time.
Yeah.
What gets me is the people that, like, they like to crack jokes, but they have, like, memorized, like, 15 jokes and are just waiting for the opportunity to spit one of those jokes out. And I'll see something and, like, say something funny, and then, like, 5 minutes later they're like, hey, tell them that bit you just did. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't remember what I said.
No.
Like, if you tell me enough, I'll remember I cracked a joke. But I don't remember what I said. Like, I'll just make up a song going down the road about somebody I just drove by. And they're like, sing that song. I have no idea what I said. I'm just being funny. And they don't get it because, like, they have to work really hard to memorize those 15 jokes. And, like, my ex's whole family was like that. And so, like, if anybody, like, one time taking her bike down the stairs, she fell down the stairs and hit at the bottom. It's like, damn stairs. It's like the first time she cussed in front of her family. Everybody thinks that's hilarious. So if anybody mentions bicycles or stairs or falling or thump, any of these things, everybody in the family's like fighting each other to be the first one to crack the joke. And then everybody else will just repeat it anyway because, this was our one opportunity to say one of the jokes that we have. And, like, that's sad. Like, just be funny. But it's not easy. That's like me telling my wife, just be tall. You can't just do it, if you don't have it, I guess.
I mean, I don't know if I'm hardly the funniest person I know, but I've learned that I'm quicker than a lot of people that I know on jokes and just being, smart-assy stuff. And that's interesting and weird to me because I never thought of myself as particularly funny until I was told that as an adult.
Yeah. And then, like, when you see what everybody else is working with, you're like, I didn't think I was that fast. Y'all slow. So, like, I just passed my, comparison. But that's something that makes me the proudest is when I see somebody busting jokes very quickly. The speed. Uh-oh.
Holy
Well,
shit!
welcome to the
Katie's
Spirit
gone.
and Fish Show.
Whoa! Now it's
The
gonna be
European embargo just cut her off.
what Sarah and Fish talk about. Now that's the name of the show now. Oh,
Goodness.
she probably with all that RAM that program takes up, and she had 2 of those files open, and it was just too much for the computer.
Could be. Or it could be a kick the power cord out again or something.
Yeah, anything. Could be anything.
Hopefully, our wonderful Katie will be back in a minute connected.
I'm sure. In the meantime, I looked up the movie. It's called Michael, the one where with Annie McDowell, where John Travolta plays an angel. And yeah, they were mean to her in that one. They were mean to her in Multiplicity and Groundhog Day. Actually, she had kind of a come up, and like she got hers in the karma thing in the end of from Magic Mike, where she gets to date this guy, and it's a very lewd joke, the whole thing is. But oh, Katie's back. Hi, Katy.
There she is.
What'd you do?
Oh, no, what happened there?
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know. My internet stopped working, and then I pulled out my phone charger, and now that my light has turned off as well, so I don't know what's happened. Don't know what's going on.
Everything.
I broke everything. But that's nothing
Katie
new.
has magic
Hedgehogs
touch.
nibbling on the wiring.
Oh, I don't know. Because the light has basically just died as well. I wonder if it's blown a fuse. Yeah, it's just gone. Okay. I don't
Better not
think
be.
it's. Oh, that'll be able to shoot. Probably got some fuses somewhere. So, am I still on the? I'm just checking that it's actually plugged. Does it think it's plugged in? Yeah, it's. I think it's just the fuse on my light's just blown. So, because my laptop still thinks it's plugged in. I don't know what happened there. Yeah, I pulled the cable out that was charging my phone, and my light just blew up. So it's like, fair enough.
Nice.
Okay, right. Let's try this again.
It was probably the badger that lives in the garden turning on the kettle to make a spot of tea. Blew a fuse. Because that's what I imagine your life is like with all the pictures of the wildlife and everything.
We
I
do
just
have
expect
badgers.
to see all the cute little animals running around.
We do have badgers, yeah. So I don't exactly know where it cut off. Then I was like, wait a second, it's gone silent there. It's like, oh God.
That's
no,
always
it's not-
fun when you keep like if your phone call gets cut off but you don't know, and so you're just and then you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't heard a in a while. And I can talk a lot. So, like, it could be a few minutes. And if I haven't heard my dad, like, oh, yeah, a couple of times, I'm like, you still there? Yeah, I'm here. I'm just eating a sandwich.
Yep.
Oh, I don't know what's going on with
working?
this thing today. It keeps. I think it's possibly my internet's being a bit funny. But anyway, is it working again now? Yeah.
We got you.
I can see you.
Is the screen shared?
Is your screen ready to share?
Oh yeah, hang on. There we go.
There we
there's
go.
there's a thing. Waiting. There it goes.
There we go. Yeah, I think it's sorting itself out a bit more now. So yeah, I'm just kind of putting a few highlights in here. That I try. I put a lot of the shadows and the shapes in first, and then start adding a few like different highlights. Curly hair is one of the hardest to draw. I think actually. Just like adding random highlighted bits in over the top. But yeah, I kind of pictured
outside. I was trying to figure out what the hell that was.
I can't hear anything.
Well, no, my noise app got rid of the sound, you couldn't hear it, but I could barely hear it over the earbuds. But there's a stopped train, and then there's like boats out. The river's right there, and there's boats out there that are always sounding horns and alarms. Like we hear the tugboats that makes that hoo sound like that. We hear that all the time. We heard that.
I don't have a lot of tugboats in Arkansas, so I don't hear them very often.
Well, that's fair. But yeah, we heard. I swear it went off 10 times in like 5 minutes, and I suggested to Jeffrey that maybe they had like a 3rd grade field trip to a tugboat, and that the operator was letting all the kids take a turn at the horn, because it's like, that is way too many times. You don't need to blow the horn that many times.
Maybe there's just like a really grumpy swan or something sat in the way.
Oh.
It's one of those things that starts glaring at traffic if they're approaching the work.
Oh, there's a road worker out. There's road workers out there. I can't see them through where I'm sitting, but they have sound proximity alarms that start blasting if somebody gets too close with their car.
Oh, okay.
That's what it
so
is.
Fascinating where you live, like with the river and the tugboats, and it just sounds fascinating to me. But then, like, I live in the woods, surrounded by rattlesnakes and stuff. So, like,
Oh, I keep thinking about the snake story you told the other day. It's fish.
Man, I was telling Katy the other day over Messenger, our youngest kid. All right, me and my wife were gone for the day. Like, we had a bunch of places to go and people to go visit and things. So we're gone for the day. So my father-in-law's over here mowing, and Eli's out there helping him. He's 16. I don't get how he's at this age already. Because he was 13 just a minute ago. But anyway, I digress. He's out there helping, and he's like, "Oh, I found a baby snake, and I picked it up, and I was playing with it, and I chunked it in the woods." And I was like, "What kind of snake was it?" "I don't know. I took a picture." And so he shows me this picture of him holding this big, fat, baby diamondback rattler that is super angry and trying desperately to bite him while he's got his head in his hand. And I was like, that's a diamondback, right? And he's like, "Oh, yeah? No, I didn't know. I just played with it. It was fun." I was like, that could have killed you. "Oh, I don't care. I'm not scared."
Oh my god.
Thank God for protecting the dumbasses. Because this kid could have easily been dead. Or at least lost his arm. And, like, you can see this thing's angrily trying to twist that thing around to get him in the hand. And he's just stopping to take pictures. And
he's so lucky.
Are they able to bite with venom at an early age? I don't know how, because some of the snakes they're not venomous until they're older, but
they definitely can, because they have to be able to hunt. Like, they don't nurse when they're young. They come out having to hunt. They say
they must be venomous immediately when they're born. Yeah, okay.
They say the babies are more deadly because they don't have control over the poison, and they'll just like dump it all rather than save some back like an adult will. Because some adults will just bite you just to bite you, just to say stay away, and not necessarily inject a lot of poison. But also, that's stuff I've just heard from other people my whole life. I've never heard it in a peer-reviewed, nature documentary or something. But
I watched something about spitting cobras, and apparently they will spit at you in the eyes from about 20 minutes old. And
yikes.
These, venomous right in your eyes and blinds you. But these people keeping them as like pets, and I was like, why? Why are you keeping those things as pets?
And everybody thinks you can grab these snakes by the back of the head and be safe. But like, they dislocate their jaws and can move everything around independently, and they can move those fangs all over independently. So it's not hard to move the lower jaw out of the way and swing that fang back. And there's all kinds of people that have been holding them and gotten bit on the finger, and end up losing a finger or something from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It ain't worth it.
There's just recently, there's like people in India that like literally farm cobras, And there was just recently, I think it was a little kid that got too close to the cobra pit and fell in and died because the cobras bit him. And
just
like watch. I've seen the
snake
videos.
pit.
Yeah, I've seen the videos of these people going into these pits that have hundreds of snakes in them, and they're all like arched up, and they've got their little flappies flared, and they're like ready to bite this guy, and he just chilling and walking around, and like, what the fuck are you doing?
You better stand back. I got my flappies flared.
Yeah, and sometimes they'll just be like, you sit down, and like slap him on the top of the head. I was like, Jesus Christ, what are you doing?
Yeah, are these guys like supplying supervillains or something? It's like, is there a big supply, like demand for snake pits out there? It's just...
What the hell do they do with them? That they're farming them, like they're raising them on purpose. Why?
Well, there's also like, you know, religious type practices with yogis and stuff that will fool around with snakes and, you know, charm snakes and hit them on the head and do all these different things to show how, you know, mystical and powerful they are. And so, like, I'm sure there's quite a market there for people that want to buy them. And then there's people around the world that want to buy them and put them in Tupperware containers in the closet and, you know, say I'm Billy Badass because I've got, you know, cobras and all these deadly snakes in my house. Until the cleaning lady knocks over the whole bunch of tubs and now everybody's getting bit.
Yeah. See, my uncle was, when he was in the RAF, had a roommate called Spider, who just had... his entire room was just like containers of spiders and tarantulas and geckos and all sorts of things. You know, the sort of person that Sarah would just love as a neighbour. I mean, I freak out, Sarah, just with the size of the house spiders we get in this place.
I don't like your... You live farther north than I do. Your spiders should not be bigger than ours. We should have bigger spiders, and yet somehow...
They have to have thicker winter coats to live up there because she's further north.
Fun fact, the spiders we get are the fastest ones in the world as well. They hold the spider speed record, so not only are they about, I don't know, that sort of size, they can run really fast. It's 1.2 miles an hour.
That's why the little bitty spiders freak me out so much more, because like I can't read their body language. I can't tell what they're gonna do. But like when a big fat grass spider comes in my house, like I can see him stop. I can see him like looking which way is he gonna turn, and you know, and like you can kind of get a feeling for when they're gonna bolt. And
yeah.
I would rather fool with that thing than like a little bitty black widow that I can't tell which way it's going to take off running. That scares the crap out of me.
Do you have black widows where you're at, Fish?
Oh, dude, I just cleaned like 50 of them off of my drawing table when I moved it out of the shed.
Make sure you got them all.
I watched
I'm pretty sure I'm going to give it a good cleaning still, but it's in there with my wife. She hasn't screamed yet.
Oh, God. There, an art YouTuber that I watch, his name is Bobby Duke. And he is very funny. He's very funny, and he does, like, really good wood carvings. But he did a couple of different videos where he showed these nests of black widows that he found in his workshop while he was working. And he's like, I'm just gonna move these guys outside because I don't want them in my workshop. And he'll just scoop them into a cup and dump them outside. And it's like, what the... No, kill them, kill them. I don't generally advocate killing the bugs, but like,
if it's like that big or so, I might cup it and dump it somewhere else far from my house. But if it's smaller than that, I'm killing it because they're too dangerous and I can't tell which way they're gonna go. You know, if it's big enough, I'm not as scared to catch it in a cup. And like a tarantula would freak me out walking around the house, but I wouldn't be afraid to catch it. Whereas, like, the little bitty guys, I'm afraid are going to run around the cup and get on my hand. And
I had a spider in the room upstairs fall down from the roof and go into my cleavage. And I'm just there like... Ah! I don't want to move in case this thing bites me. So I'm just having to wait until it comes out again. And then I'm like, get off me.
It's like a cookie crumb. It could go all the way down and around and really get down in there.
Oh, God.
I don't even know what type of spider.
For here.
Yeah. I don't know what type of spider cleavage spider was, but it was very fast.
Ugh. I remember driving. I was in my car going from my house, my old house, to my job, and it was a nice day, and I had the one window down, and I had my hand up on the hanging out the window a bit, and all of a sudden I feel this. I'm pulling up to a stoplight, and I feel this prickling on my arm, and I didn't think anything of it at first, but then I start moving forward. And as I'm just accelerating away from the stop sign, I happen to look down, and it's this big old black, crunchy body. And of course, I'm like, ah! And like shaking my arm out the window, and I fucking almost crashed my car into a telephone pole. Oh my god. I'm so glad there wasn't a lot of traffic that day, or I absolutely would have caused a wreck. And then I would have had to explain to the cops, and I'm like, you know what? I'll just kill myself. I don't want to explain this. I hope if that ever happens again, I hope I die in the crash, because I do not want to explain that to the cops.
I found a tick crawling on my leg once, which is in the car. Fortunately, I wasn't driving because I hate ticks so much. It's like I will put most spiders and even wasps outside, but ticks
are
have
just
no
obese
mercy.
spiders. They're gross.
They're worse than spiders. I don't like them.
I've never gotten sick from a spider, but I've gotten sick from a tick.
I've only had one so far, and touch wood, I think I've got away with it. But it wasn't on me for very long, so I think.
Oh man, I've had so many ticks. God.
Yeah.
And we got them all over the place out here because, my backyard ends at the woods, and Buggy jumps the fence and runs out there all the time, and comes back with big old ticks on her eyelid, just droop down.
It's really weird though, because we've got loads of long grass. I mean, most of our grass we never cut. It gets cut once in August because just wildflowers and stuff. But the dogs have only in one tick in 20 years of living here, and I don't understand why. Because our garden looks like it should be full of them. My theory is that there's just so many birds here that they eat them before they get a chance to breed.
That's the thing. If it's meadowy enough that you've got enough birds and stuff coming and flowers and things attracting bugs and food for them, they may just be eating everything.
Yeah. We certainly you see them running about hopping about under all the vegetation, so maybe they are just looking for insects and stuff. Because we've got so many birds in my garden, it's unreal. And bees at the moment. Seem to have quite a lot of bees, which is good.
If I wasn't disabled, I would absolutely get some guineas or something and just let them roam the backyard and keep the bugs down. But there's a whole lot of days that I can't go outside at all. Yeah. So, I couldn't guarantee that I'd be able to get out there and take care of them every day the way they need. So, I'm not doing it. The dogs are inside and I'm inside. I can feed and water them if it comes to it, if the kids aren't doing it.
Oh, they're so noisy as well. They're just my friend had quite a lot of them. And when I go to dog training, they just leave them free ranging and on the road that goes through the house. So quite often I have to do emergency stops for guinea fowl and chickens. And it's I don't want to run over your chickens.
Parents used to have guineas. I don't remember how noisy they were.
Very.
They have so many different kinds of birds now, though. I don't even know. I told Katie, I told you about why I didn't get to have ducks when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And my parents fucking bought the grandkids ducks because they're assholes. I didn't get to have ducks because my mom said she did not want them in the yard because they have greasy poop. She told us, and then turns out she's terrified of ducks because she was attacked by a goose, and as a kid, she was attacked by a goose, and her little kid brain said goose and ducks are the same.
Oh, does she have that phobia that somewhere a duck is always watching you? Which, fun fact, is actually a phobia that one of the characters in my D&D group has. So every so often, the DM plays a duck sound, and that character has to roll a dice to see whether he can actually do an action that turn, or he's just paralyzed about the fear of ducks.
Wow, nice. Yeah, no,
it's
I don't
crazy
know
that they
she
name
has that,
all of these things.
Have you seen the The worst one is the fear of long words, and it's like one of the longest words I've ever seen.
A very long word, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, I got the hiccups now.
That's beautiful.
He's getting sort of golden highlights in his curls now. But, curly hair is so hard to draw, it really is.
Starting to get the hang of braids, but I don't know if I'll ever figure out curls. They're just
See,
too
I
weird.
kind of think curly hair is easier for me. I mean, but then also I'm drawing it in black and white.
Yeah.
But I like it because I don't have to make long, continuous lines of something. Like
Yeah.
long, flowing, straight or slightly curved lines of hair. I hate having to draw that. I would rather draw a short little twist that can go wherever I want.
Yeah.
It takes longer, but it's easier in my brain.
That's fair.
But then I'm also not breaking that into a million strands to try to make it look real.
I think I did braids a lot in that picture I did for one of the pictures I did for the Sundering, wasn't there? With Jace character, there was quite a lot of braids that I did for that one.
He had dreadlocks, yeah, and he had braids. He had the cornrow braids. Is that what they're called?
Yeah,
Cornrows?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and
that was interesting.
I know I just got a high quality print of that, and you'd think that I would know where that file is, because he's got braids. Maybe those aren't dreadlocks; those are just braids.
Yeah, I think with braids.
Like
because I was looking up a lot of different hairstyle. Yeah. Because I quite often save pictures. If I see someone who's got really interesting hair, I'm just like, I'm saving a picture of you. It's probably
That's
quite
smart.
creepy. Yeah. It probably would look quite creepy. There's just loads of pictures of people's hair. It's like, but I'm looking at it to references. Because I think it's really funny when you think...
if they don't know that you're an artist. Because I bet we all have hard drives full of the most random shit.
Oh.
That we
I used to just snap pictures of people in public and be like, oh wow, they're weird looking. I'm taking a picture to remember, like their body shape or the way that outfit sat on their bones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those like, if someone's like on the news and they've got a really interesting face, I'll take a picture of it because it's like, you're using it as like a bank of references. It's not like, you're not making fun of them or anything. It's just like, oh wow, that guy's got.
I find it fascinating.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't, and it sounds bad when I say it out loud, but like sometimes I see people and I'm like, I would never have imagined a nose could take up that much of your face. And to me, like, it's a beautiful thing. Like, I never would have thought it could go that far. It's pushed your chin down to this little nub, but it looks awesome to me. And I want to remember that because like all the rules tell me like a third and a third and a third. And like, I never would have pushed it that far.
Oh yeah, I find it really interesting
walking around
as
looking
well.
like this all the time.
Yeah. Those oddities, and I don't even want to call them imperfections because like a scar is an imperfection, but your nose being the way it is, the way you were born with, that's not an imperfection. And I think that those those deviations from what's like considered traditionally beautiful. Yeah, that's true. But those are the coolest things about people sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I find it really interesting seeing. Yeah, it's really interesting seeing like different eye shapes and stuff like that, or different colors. I actually find is it vitiligo where the pigment loss thing?
Yeah.
I find it fascinating. I love seeing people with it to the point where I've actually created a character with it as well in the thing that I'm doing, because I just think it's beautiful. And I've actually kind of gone gone so far as to actually say in her culture it's kind of like perceived as a thing of like a mark of the gods sort of thing, where they it's made them look more interesting and beautiful and stuff. So I think it's like that's one of the things in my story. I just think it's people, if you think about it,
don't realize everybody can get that, because I've known lots of white people that had it. They're like, you can't tell for the most part that these patches of skin are different color per se, but when it gets into their hair, you can see this is a bright white patch of hair coming out here, And
My
fascinating.
my grandmother has it, and she passed it on to all of her daughters, and I'm sure I have a gene for it. I don't know if it'll ever manifest, but I have cousins who were born of the daughters of my grandma that had, and they have it too. And it's just like, it looks like their skin is perfectly white all the way down to their elbows and their hands is what most people can see. And then all of a sudden you see that there's more tanned skin, and then it's patched in with like paler, pinker skin. And
You see, I think that's really cool, though.
Equally fascinating on a black person or a white person or a brown person. Like it's fascinating, and I think like I said, it's those deviations from the normal boring that I think are the most interesting parts of people.
But I mean, like, if you had that in, like, say, a dog or a horse or something, that would be really classed as something really beautiful. But there seems to be a bit of a stigma about it in people, and it's like, why? It makes you more unique. And
people don't want to stand out in the herd.
We want to be cookie cutter perfect.
Yeah, unfortunately.
There was a cat. There was a cat who was like sort of famous, and he was from England. He died several years ago. He was quite old at that point. So, but he had vitiligo, and he was like black. It looked like salt and pepper. He was black and white, speckles everywhere. It was really pretty.
Yeah.
And it's nice. Unusual that it's considered beautiful in animals, but not in people. And it's stupid because it's really cool. And I would,
it's like having a tail. It's beautiful on a cat. Looks weird on me.
That's fair. But like, if I had been one of the grandkids to inherit that, I mean, like I said, I'm not saying it won't ever show up on me because I'm genetically predisposed to getting it. But if it ever, if it had as a child, if I was born like that, I'm sure that it would have been, because like my cousins, I remember they got made fun of for their speckly weird hands, and it's like, but that's just the way they are. There's nothing wrong with them. That's just
I got made fun of for being taller than everybody else. And I mean, a lot of people would pay to have my height, and they'll pick on anything. It doesn't matter.
How tall are you, Fish? I know I've asked this before, but I've forgotten.
I am 6'4.5".
All right.
Which is not gigantic, but then when you add the width of my body, like my shoulders are gigantic. Like I can't walk into my bathroom without turning sideways because my shoulders won't go through the door frame. And then you add the weight on top of how big our family's built, and I look like a giant walking around. Well,
if it makes you feel any better, the female cousin of one of my exes was 6'7".
I was working at a gas station when I first moved to town, and I worked the midnight shift, and I'm sitting there working at the cash register, and this massive cowgirl comes in like a camo overall, like she was duck hunting or something. Pretty blonde, she's giant, and she walks in the door, and she looks at me, and she just starts marching around the counter back behind the register to come get me. And like she's going to just pick me up and take me away. And then she gets around the counter and realizes that there's a 3-inch step up behind the cash register so that we're just a little bit higher than everybody else to help see over the registers for the little people and whatnot. And she's like, "Oh, I thought you were tall," and walks off all pissed off. And I'm like,
"You're just going to get kidnapped because you're tall."
I'm like, should I be honored that she was going to take me away? Or like, I kind of heard that now she says I'm short. But like, she was like probably 6'5", I'm guessing, something like that.
That lady needs to learn what consent is.
I'm here to tell you. Of course, this was also like 90-something. Consent wasn't a reality back then. 90s movie tell us anything. Consent doesn't matter.
It's like one of them, what is it, Futurama? The Amazonian women is death by snooze.
That's kind of what I was first fixing to have.
Yeah. Oh no, it just annoys me when people, that people get made fun of because of being, just a little bit different stuff. Because I was as well. Because
And
I
people
was.
say that kids are vicious and kids do that, and I don't know if I agree with that, because my nephew was the sweetest little boy in the whole wide world until he went to school, Catholic school, I might add, and then he turned into a vicious little bastard, and I'm like, why?
They do pick up a lot of stuff from each other very quickly. I mean, very quickly.
In some ways, I think sometimes putting a load of kids together with like minimal adult interaction,
It's a horrible idea.
It's not a good idea, because like if I was the sort of kid that didn't really get on with other children. I don't really like kids even now, and I mean, not I just find them intimidating and noisy, and
She personally hates my children. I'm gone.
I don't hate children.
You.
It's just I don't hate children, but I find them a bit overwhelming with the noise and everything like that.
And the sticky hands and
but I mean, I think looking back on it, I think I was quite overwhelmed by a lot of the noise and stuff when I was a kid. But yeah, I got on so much better with the adults because they were sort of predictable, and for the most part, they didn't bully you and stuff like that.
Bothers me that you said for the most part the adults don't bully you.
Oh yeah,
some of them really do.
They do.
Some of them use bullying as a teaching tactic, and I'm going to make them better by embarrassing them in front of the class every day until they stop doing.
And it's like
this
passive
weird
aggressive
thing
or
that they were
negging or
born
something, so that as a stupid kid, you don't understand that is absolutely bullying. It's absolutely abuse, but you don't know it because you're a kid and you're dumb and you don't know things.
Oh yeah, I mean, we had a teacher at school, and I am not joking. She was like, in looks and personality, she was Professor Umbridge from Harry Potter, which is not a good thing to say. I assume you know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I do, but
she's the
and
evil.
I watched one of the movies.
Yeah, passive aggressive as hell, isn't she? She is so.
Yeah, and this woman also used to wear like really frilly, like feminine, pretty brooches and stuff like that, and stuff with kittens. And I'm like, she's just the same woman. I'm sure it's based on her. She once was adamant that I hadn't turned my homework in, even though I knew I had, and she gave me detention and everything. And then 8 weeks later, she threw my book on the desk and then walked off because she'd lost it and then found it again. But no, it was my fault for not doing the homework, so,
No apology or nothing, though?
Oh, God, no.
Of course not.
No.
A child cannot be right. It has to be wrong because the adult would know better. And
yeah.
That frustrated me so much. And, and partly, I ran into a lot of trouble because, being undiagnosed autistic, I would need to know why. If you're asking me to do something, I need to understand why.
Yeah, you need to know why, yeah.
Just, if nothing else, so I can do it correctly, because, everybody just assumes that you understand all the nuance, but I know I don't. So I'm like, I need to know why I'm doing it, so I know why is it worth my time, why am I doing this, and what's my goal, so that I know how to do it correctly.
Yeah, or why it's not acceptable and stuff, because it's like, there's all the I've come across it before. It's like, well, you should know about this, and but I don't. This is why I'm having trouble with it. It's like it's maybe obvious to you, but not to me.
Yeah, my dad was very much a don't question me kind of a guy, and I was always like, but why? I want to know why. I'm not, and he, that was, I think that was the prevailing attitude at the time, is if a kid questioned you, it meant that they were being insubordinate. It's like, no, I genuinely want to know. And so I had started for a long time. I'm not saying this to be an asshole, I just want to know, and I'm just curious. So you have to make sure you over-explain why you are asking, so that they don't think that you're being insubordinate. And then it got pointed out to me, it's like, why? I don't care why you want to know. I'll tell you. It's not a big deal. I'm like, oh, but it is, isn't it?
Because I keep getting in trouble for it, and it's not safe for me to ask these questions, and that's where the masking comes in, because you're not safe being who you are, so we have to pretend to be what's going to make this easier. And
or you have to pretend that you know what's going on, and like it's,
Mhm.
and if you don't, then it's like you feel really crap because you haven't masked well enough and stuff
Mhm.
like that. So
It would have been so awesome if the internet would have existed when I was little, because then instead of asking why, I could have just looked it up myself and gotten an answer, and then I wouldn't have had to be that kid.
yeah,
And
I
that
mean,
would have made everybody else around me happy, and it would have made me happy. So,
the internet did kind of exist when I was a teenager, because
right,
you know
yeah, it was,
I still remember the dial-up tone and everything, but I think
Yeah,
it's still
but
in
you
its
couldn't
infancy.
whip out your phone and get an instant answer like you can now.
yeah.
Because
Yeah,
you had to
it
go
didn't
through all the dial
exist.
tones first.
We didn't have it in any real form until I was in my teens, and then yeah, it's only been in the past 10-15 years that you could just whip out your phone and look something up. So
Yeah, although you
yeah,
have to
for
be
sure.
careful because it's not always correct what you find out. But
Mhm.
Right.
But see, and
especially
that's the thing now. Now it's easier to find correct information because there's so many more people and sources that are trying to
yeah,
put out the right information, and that stuff comes up better in search engines than just whatever page you stumbled across
yeah.
because that
Mhm.
was the one you found that talked
Although I
about it.
think there's a problem these days with kids looking at like the Chat GTP things, and they're like asking them questions, but they don't really seem to realize that sometimes it lies because it doesn't know that what it's saying isn't correct. You know.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
The
and I'm waiting like ChatGPT. So eh, the art ones too. It's not just the text ones, but they all should have sources of where they pulled this from, because the artists who made the art at
The
least deserve
computer
the
knows.
credit.
yeah.
Yeah, but and like
The
and
algorithm absolutely knows where it's pulling from.
yeah, and
Yeah,
the
but I mean, it's like, if it's a book, they have to cite their sources. You know,
right,
it's
yeah, like a kid's writing a report, you've got to cite your sources, and I'm sure that there's plenty of teachers out there that don't actually check that stuff when the kid hands in their paper, but plenty of them do, and you need to be able to verify that that stuff's right. And as a kid, kids just often don't know why that's important, and
yeah.
we're not doing them any favors by having this
I
AI,
But
think
the
these
way we
this
do
days,
particular type of
school
AI.
isn't doing them any favors. Like it's the real, in my opinion, it's really the core problem with society these days is we
mm,
have farmed out raising our kids to strangers, and you've got one stranger raising a batch of like 40 kids in a classroom,
yeah,
and so it's basically like a watered down Lord of the Flies all day, every day. Your interaction with your actual children can sometimes just be a couple of hours in a day. So the majority of their day, they're being influenced by other kids their age that don't know crap, don't have home training, don't know how to behave themselves, and
are often
internet and
quite,
TV.
yeah,
And then you wonder why our kids act the way they do. And the next thing you know, I don't feel like I even know them. And well, of course you don't. You're not the one that raised them. And now
yeah,
we're like the fifth generation of people being raised by TV and internet and school and not being raised by their parents, learning the craft that our parents learned and working on the farm or whatever. And yeah, we're all growing up to be strangers that don't really know each other and don't haven't had any influence on each other. But then I
Mhm.
see some of my weirdo friends at homeschool, and they're so close with their kids, and their kids are so close to them, and they can trust them to be honest with them about stuff. My kids learned to lie on the first day of kindergarten. Like before my kids went to kindergarten, like my oldest was the best kid, and he if I told him not to do something, he wouldn't do it because that thing is illegal because dad said no. And it doesn't matter why. Dad said, no, we're not doing that because that's wrong.
mm,
And after that first day of kindergarten and seeing that people could do bad things and not get caught if the teacher wasn't looking, it was all over. It was
yeah.
lying and conniving and stealing and getting in trouble from then on because he saw how many times a day do kids get away with doing something bad and not getting caught? Yeah,
Oh, my mum
odds
literally
are in his
found
favor.
one. Yeah, my mum literally found one of the kids that I used to be friends with trying to teach me how to throw tantrums because that's the way she used to get everything she wanted, which
Mhm.
kind of tells you a bit about her parents as well. But yeah, This is probably why she stole all of my toys, and then, you know, even though she had masses of them, she just used to shove them in the bottom of her toy closet and then lie about whether she's having them and stuff. But
Kids will do bad things on their own, and they will, just like nobody has to teach a kid how to bite or pinch. Like my kids didn't pick up pinching from me because I pinched my ex-wife when I was mad. Like I didn't do that. They just naturally did that because we're all sinister little shits for. Like we're selfish. We want what we want. We don't care about others' feelings in the beginning.
yeah,
But we do all that work to teach them all this stuff for a few years, and then we just kind of hand them over and expect somebody else to do the most of the work, and expect those few years to still guide who they're going to be in 12 years when they get out of school. And then they get out, it's like, I don't feel like I even know them. Well, of course you don't know them. You didn't
quite damaging as well. I mean, it's like, a lot of the things they're exposed. I'm so glad that I didn't really grow up with like social media and stuff because.
Oh man.
I mean, I had some stupid kids at school got kind of wind that I'd got a little website for my art stuff, so they just started spamming stupid comments on it all the time, and I had to disable the comment section. But that was back then, but it can be so much more sophisticated now, like them making Facebook pages just to bully people and stuff, and cyberbullying and
catfish you into doing something stupid because you think the hot kid at school is in love with you, or
you see, I have got experience of catfishing, but that was when I was a lot younger as well.
I mean, they did that when I was a kid, and they'd call you over the phone and pretend to be a different girl, or try and make your voice deeper and try and sound like a boy, just to mess with you, just so they could laugh at you at school the next day because you did whatever, like they're sinister. But now you're not just stuck with your kids picking up negative things or getting bad ideas from the kids they happen to be around at school. Now you've got a whole world of kids out there making videos and teaching them how to do stupid stuff, and step-by-step instructions on TikTok of, how to do this, that, or the other.
And sometimes not even kids, which is,
Oh, yeah. And then you've got all the, creeps preying on them. And, like I was listening to my daughter and her friend in the room talking, and, they didn't realize I can hear them because I'm right around the corner in my chair, and just talking about, like, all the times old creepers are, coming into their DMs and, talking to them, and then suddenly they're asking to pay for pictures of their feet and stuff. And I'm like, they shouldn't have to worry about this stuff at 15, but, it's.
I mean, I had an experience of that as well because, there's this, I think it was 38-year-old started trying to, convince me to go and meet up with him and stuff. But fortunately, I was a really smart kid at 14, and I blocked him. So, but I still kind of regret because he sort of asked me to delete all the message history, and I'm so annoyed with myself that I did it. But of course, I was a child.
Oh man!
But it's like I shouldn't have, and I should have turned it over to the police because it was look in hindsight. But hindsight's a wonderful thing when you're an adult. But nothing ever happened. But I was kind of like, I don't like the way this is going. I'm just going to block this guy now. But,
so many times I should have called the cops and didn't.
Yeah.
It haunts me.
Yeah, there's just people are just horrible out there. But, yeah, it's... But, I mean, that's one of the things, especially, if you're a woman on the internet, that's kind of one of the things that you just have to deal with, unfortunately. And I really wish it wasn't the case.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully someday it won't be.
Yeah. It is actually
illegal. When AI's in charge.
It's illegal in Scotland to actually send unsolicited genital pictures to people. No.
It should be illegal everywhere.
I know, it isn't, but it should be.
They should all be posted publicly somewhere with the names and addresses of the people that sent them. Mm-hmm. There should be a section in the newspaper that's got all the dick pics of all the people that sent them.
Yeah,
they don't like it if you send them back.
And
if you just send
the pictures to their the family members when they.
Oh yeah, it's like this is your mother.
I'm sure you've seen stories. Yeah, sending pictures. The pictures that they send to the women will then forward to their family members. and tell them that they sent
Good
them to the
on 'em.
police and stuff. Like, they deserve it. You should never send a picture of your penis before asking permission to do so and receiving a
I
yes
don't think
in
you should ever
response.
do it, period. Just
No.
because, like,
It's-
you don't have a lot of control over what's going to happen to that.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's foolish to put yourself in that position. Like, even me and my wife, I'm not going to send her a picture like that. Just, what if our daughter picks up her phone to, you know, check a message for her or something? I was
Yeah.
scrolling through my sister-in-law's phone. She was passing around with pictures of her baby and, you know, the new funny thing the baby had done. So I'm like, oh, cute picture, cute picture, cute picture. Her face down in another woman's crotch, taking pictures for her husband overseas. I didn't need to see
Awkward.
that.
Bit slightly awkward.
And it's like, baby picture, porn. I did not need to see my sister-in-law in that situation.
Well, my phone is
Yeah.
entirely full of pictures of dogs and plants. So anyone looking for stupid stuff in my phone is going to be seriously disappointed, and then have to scroll
I
through
do have
thousands of pictures
probably
of dogs.
100 wiener pics on my phone, but they're all a BOGO, and that's it.
Yeah.
And he's my wife's wiener.
No, I
He's
like the
supposed to be
ones.
mine, but he's absolutely my wife's.
I
Your
like
wife
the
stole
ones
your
that you
wiener?
see-
Mhm.
Oh no.
Yeah, I do like the ones where the women have actually found like random dick pics, sent them back to the guys that sent them ones.
Nice. Here's mine. That would put a stop to it real quick.
Yeah, and then
I mean,
guy
until the next guy comes along.
and they're always like, "Oh, why would you do that?" It's like, well, why are you sending?
Why
it to
would
me?
you do that?
Yeah.
I remember, you know, ages ago. I'm like we would. It was what, like I say we in the royal sense. I know a few friends and I don't know if Katie and I ever talked about this, but it's possible because we've been friends for long enough that I don't fucking remember what we talk about. and like I've tried to take, you know, pictures of myself looking sexy or seductive or whatever, but I draw the line at uncovering anything, like anything that low cut top that I'm wearing out to the club. I draw the line there. I'm not gonna take pictures of anything more nude than that. And
Anything that would get flagged on Facebook.
yes, exactly. And honestly, I mean, I guess I have a biased view as a woman, but like I feel like the pictures where you are strategically covering things up are sexier pictures anyway.
Yeah.
Oh man,
And-
mystery is always sexy.
That's
Always.
what I thought. And like anybody who, if anybody decides to leak those pictures of me, that the pictures that I've taken of myself being, you know, it's like, what are you gonna see? I've literally shown that much skin on our weekly streams before. And
Yeah, and I mean,
you're not
even
seeing
if you
anything.
even if you can really trust the person that you're sending the pictures to, you don't know who's going to hack into their phone. Or if
Exactly.
the
No,
friends are going to go
anything
through
could
it, and
happen.
yeah, or if the friends are going to share it with each other. That
You
sort
could
of thing.
piss off the wrong person in a Facebook comment, and next thing you know, you're getting doxxed and you're getting swatted, and people
Yep.
are hacking into your phone, and like anything could happen. People will go out of their way to ruin just anybody's life. You don't have to be famous for it to happen.
No.
And like, I wouldn't want a sexy picture my wife sent me to end up on some, you know, Housewives Next Door website or something because somebody
Right.
got in there and hacked it. No, that's for me and her time. That's not for nobody else.
Mhm.
No.
But I'm also old fashioned. But
I haven't
Yeah.
taken any like pictures trying to be. I haven't done that in years because mostly I just feel gross all the time. So not in the mood for that kind of shit.
Same.
I've realized over the years that especially as I've become more like the older I get, the more of a recluse and homebody I become, and I think it's amusing that I never look more like a homeless person than when I'm actually in my home. Like I'm wearing like ripped up, shaggy, raggy sweatpants and stuff, and I'm like, and I've got a hood. I'll have the hood up on my hoodie, and then I'll have a scarf wrapped around that, and then I'll like have a ripped up old nasty blanket around my shoulders, and I'll be huddled up on the corner of the couch, and there's holes in my socks. I'm like, I look way more like a homeless person at home than I do when I'm out in public with people, and I have no desire at this point in time to be taking any attractive pictures of myself. I'm not.
My wife laughed at me today because her and the dog were in the bedroom. She was getting ready for the day. While I was hopping in, I was going to shave my head and get in the shower. And she laughed at me because I shut the door to the bathroom while I'm going to be in there shaving my head and stuff. And I'm like, partly I'm like, sexy time is sexy time. And this is not sexy time. And partly I'm like, I'm not a big fan of like just casual nudity for no reason because I don't want to get bored of things. Like, I want seeing my wife's body to be something special that would, like, the whole walking around the house naked making coffee, that kind of diminishes everything and takes the specialness away from it. And
that's just
it's
dangerous
fun for a minute,
anyway.
but
You shouldn't make coffee while you're naked.
No,
I would rather save that stuff for that. Like, the people that like talk to each other on the toilet, I don't get it. I could never be that person. Like, I don't want you seeing me that way. I don't want to see you that way.
No.
I'd rather,
toilet time is my time. That's private time.
Yeah.
I want, except that if anybody who has kids or pets understands that toilet time can't always be private time when you have a toddler or a cat fucking kicking the door open like they're about to challenge you to an Old West duel.
I thought Marcus was going to get me arrested. Because, okay. Now, how many viewers do we have right now? Let me ask that question first.
Just a couple.
Okay. Now, I preface this. Nothing happened, nothing inappropriate at all. But, like, when my oldest two boys were, we got them through foster care. We were foster parents, and we were fostering them. And at the time, we had them for maybe 6 months. We were planning on adopting them. We would have already adopted them at this point, but their drug addict parents showed up for 2 days and had to start the whole process over, and then they disappeared again. Long story. But anyway, so these are my boys. They're in foster care. We're hoping to adopt them, but they're not mine yet. And we're working on, the body stuff. And we're like, these are my eyes. These are my ears. These are my mouth. Where's your mouth? Where's my mouth? Where's my hair? Where's your hair? Where is my hair? And so we're working on all of this stuff, and we're working on potty training with Marcus because he's the oldest, and we're at CC's, and we just had pizza, and he's covered in sauce and stuff, so we got to go wash our hands. And he's like, "Go pee?" And I was like, "Okay, we'll go sit on the potty for a minute." And he sits on the potty for a minute. Well, I'm waiting on him to tinkle. Now I got to go to the bathroom. So I move him over in the stall, and I sit down to go to the bathroom. The people are coming and going, and the other stalls are filling up. And he's asking questions, about, your knees? I'm like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then he hears me tinkling, and he's like, "You pee?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm peeing." He's like, "You pee-pee?" I'm like, "Yeah, my pee-pee." He's like, "You pee-pee? My mouth?" And I freaked. I was like, "No, that's your mouth. Let me." And I flushed. We didn't wash our hands. We shot out of there. I told my wife, I was like, "We got to go." And we went and got in the van. I'm getting him buckled. She's running out with Justin, like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "We got to go. We got to go. I'm going to tell you the story later, but we got to go." Because I was so afraid I was going to go to jail and lose my foster kids.
Yeah.
I love the innocence of children to not, like, they don't care and they don't understand, idea. But also, that could have been a bad situation for you. Hilarious story to tell after the fact.
And it would have been worse for them because, like, we would have lost them and they were almost impossible to get adopted. And if we had lost them, I don't think they ever would have got adopted because they were so traumatized. Mm-hmm. They were, dealing with them was miserable at night. It was a horror story. But, but they're my boys and I love them. I was willing to do it. Mm-hmm. But, oh man, I had to put a stop to the rhyming game because they would love to just, say a silly word and then start rhyming it. And next thing you know, they're unknowingly letting out a string of obscenities and saying some like really horrific things that they have no idea they're saying because they don't know what any of these things mean. They're
Sure.
just rhyming
Kids.
and and they're having so much fun making these silly sounds, and they're suddenly yelling out racial slurs and stuff. I'm like,
Oh,
nope, that game's over. We're not doing that. Let's play a different game.
poor kids.
Yeah.
I used to babysit for my sister a lot, and because she had this stupid fucking schedule when she used to work at the, she used to be a deputy for one of the counties, and she was be gone at all weird hours, and I lived just a couple of blocks away at the time, so it was easy to just pop up there and watch the kids for her, and I was fine with it. Because she'd give me a couple bucks and I could eat all the food in her fridge if I wanted to. And then we just watch TV and junk up the house with art projects and stuff, and then I go home and she has to clean it up. But I remember several times that my niece Ava, before she would be horrified now if she knew I was telling the story, but like just one of the times I remember was just her coming. Like I said, she just absolutely did not tolerate closed doors in any way. So if I wanted to go to the bathroom by myself, she would bust the door open and then she'd just stomp on in like she owned the place. And one time she walked in and she told me, "Sarah, your butt is too big for our toilet." And I was like, at the time I was way thinner than I am now, and I'm just like, yeah, but that's what happens when you're an adult. Your butt gets too big for the toilet. So I'm like, and imagine having to explain to her why it doesn't matter if your cheeks are hanging over the edge, because that's like, I don't want to be the one to explain anatomy to you, child. It's like, so I'm just like sitting there going, don't worry, I'm not going to pee on the seat. It's going to be fine.
I remember when I was when I was younger, it was my friend's house, because I was painting a mural on his wall, and he had a little sister. I don't know how old she must have been, but there was one day, and she just ran in like butt naked. So I'm just like facing the wall, like, come put some clothes on. Like, why? It's like, just go and get dressed. It's like, so and then eventually her brother comes in. It's like, get dressed. But they have no idea that that's like not acceptable.
Yeah, preschool age children just do not care about naked time. They are all about naked time.
Sometimes the teenagers don't care that much either. Like, I was shamed so much for being fat as a kid, and to hear my sister and my mother talk about it back in the day. They would talk about how I was as round as a beach ball. I was every bit as wide as I was tall. And the thing is, like, most of my childhood, I was like 30 pounds overweight, which when you're 6 feet tall isn't all that much. Yeah. But, they shamed me so bad about it that, I ended up with a real complex about it, and it didn't help things.
Yeah.
But
shocker, shaming people doesn't work as a tactic to get them to lose weight.
Yeah,
I
mean,
I
was the biggest girl in my year at school, so you can imagine what the kids were like with me.
Yeah. No, I feel you. My dad was very hard on me for being a chubby kid.
Certainly.
And I look at pictures of myself from, when I was 10, 15 years old, and I'm like, God, I wish I was weighed that much now. Jeez.
Oh, God.
What's the problem?
Yeah.
Anyway.
My sister was begging me to lose weight in high school just to save my life, and I'm going to die and blah, blah, blah. I look back now, I was like, do you know what I would give to be 235 pounds again? Like, I would give this house. I'd go living in a cardboard box if I could go back to that size,
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever get back down to there now. But, I'm so fat. Anyway, body issues my whole life because of that. And I wasn't going to put that on my kids. And so, some people think I'm weird, but every time I would talk to my boys, I would tell them how handsome they are and how sexy they are. And I call my kids sexy all the time. And, along with a lot of other things, I tell them how brilliant they are and that they're my beloved and all this stuff. I talk weird to my kids, but I've always been wanting to speak life and growth into them and not a lot of negative self-talk, because they got enough of that from other people. And so my son, who's, is a giant like me, Had no problem walking around the house in his underwear all the time. I didn't like it. It made me uncomfortable. Just I don't like seeing that much naked man walking around the house. But but I didn't want to give him body issues by saying, "Go put some clothes on."
Yeah.
If he's comfortable with himself, I'm happy that he's comfortable with himself because I'm not. And then I married my wife, and now there's a teenage girl in the house and another teenage boy, and she's like, "Bear's got to start putting some clothes on." And I was like, "Yes, he absolutely does." And he's like, "I put shorts on. Is that not enough?" I was like, "Dude, you need to put a shirt on, dude. Like, I'm not trying to be ugly. Just for everybody's comfort, all of us are wearing shirts. Let's throw a shirt on."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still
nephew-
find it really difficult to actually have even. I don't like my arms, like my bare arms and stuff. So I tend to wear long sleeve shirts and things just because of body issues from school and stuff like that.
and always
And
clothes that are
social
way too
media.
big, even though you would definitely look better if you were wearing clothes that fit you better. That's how I am. Is like I want big baggy clothes all the time, and I'm uncomfortable if I'm wearing something that actually fits right. Because
Oh man,
it's
for
too
years I could not walk out of the house in just a t-shirt because there's no way I could do it because you could see the misformed shape of my body. No, cannot do it. I've got to cover up in layers and try and cover as much of this as I can, as many heavy layers as I can, and then enough passing out from heat exhaustion and stuff later. And eventually, at some point, like in my 30s, I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I've seen enough pictures of myself. I'm not hiding it. Everybody knows I'm fat. Everybody knows I got boobs. Fuck it. I'm done. And I just screw it. I'm gonna wear what's comfortable from now on. And
I think that
you
happens
know,
in your 30s, though. I mean, it's like I must admit, like in my 30s, more recently, I've just been sort of like I don't care anymore. So I used to
I
be like
wish.
I used to be a bit of a goth. Like I know I know I don't have a conventionally attractive body and stuff like that. But nowadays, I don't even try and put the makeup and stuff on. I'm just like, you know what? I can't be bothered. I don't like the way it makes my skin feel. I don't have the time to do like an hour's makeup every day anymore, and it's expensive. I don't want to do it. I'm just gonna go out as is normal. And then the thing is, I get people thinking I'm like 10 years younger than I actually am just because I'm baby faced. But
That's the thing I wish more people would get a hold of, especially women. Because so many women are so hard on themselves about the way they look. Oh, I don't look like the girls in Vogue or whatever. But the girls in Vogue don't look like the girls in Vogue.
no,
And
it's all Photoshop and smoke and mirrors.
if they knew how many guys out there would pay money just to see a picture of them, much less get to take them on a date or something. There's so many dudes out there that would just fantasize about you, no matter who you are. And, you know, it doesn't matter if you're a 600-pound, 80-year-old grandma that had a double mastectomy. There are dudes out there that will pay their whole paycheck just to see that. Like, I mean, there are people out there that find all of us beautiful, and we need to be able to wrap our head around that. And I even struggle with it. How does my cute young wife look at all this and say, "Yeah, give me a slice of that"? I don't know, but I'm not going to argue with her about it. If she's yes, ma'am, I'm not going to argue. And then she feels the same way. I look at her, and she is just the cutest, sweetest little thing I've ever seen in my life, and I just love her to death. And she's just like, growth, my hair, my this and my that. Everything you're pointing out is just stuff that looks amazing to me, and I'm absolutely enamored with. And she's like, yeah, gross. I'm like, what's the outcome? Are you trying to talk me out of being in love with you? Because I'm in for this. This is what I signed up for. This is what I'm into right here. And don't try and argue me out of it. This is what I like.
I genuinely think that a lot of this photoshopped media and stuff is giving so many people body dysmorphia.
Mm-hmm.
And
Greed.
I've had friends with body dysmorphia, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so ugly" and stuff like this. And like, but you're not. you're not. You're not as big as you think you are. You're not. You're not ugly. But their brains are telling them that they are, and it's such a sad state because I think it's affecting so many people, and it's not just women it's affecting as well because it's a lot of pressure on men to look like ripped and everything like that without actually like telling people that the reason that those guys look like that in the magazines is because they're dangerously dehydrated and they're on like diets that will give them kidney and liver damage because it's not. There's just too much protein and stuff.
Most of those guys are working like 12 hours a day to maintain that figure.
Yeah.
And you can't do that unless it's your job.
They don't maintain it 365 days of the year either. They are usually covered in a layer of fat, and then like 2 months before their whatever they need to be in their quote unquote peak physical condition, like those men that do the muscle contests, they don't stay like that year round. They would die if they did that.
But if you go
like that, they're like that for like a month out of the year,
and disqualified because so many people do.
But if you go to something like the Highland Games, which is like tossing the caber and the hammer toss and all these really big heavy sports where people are genuinely as strong as hell, they do not look like that. They look like a
World's
beer
strongest
barrel
man
on legs.
competition.
Yeah,
they look like a beer barrel.
I was thinking about WWE, like they all look so ripped all the time, and I was like, they can't be healthy. Then you look at World's Strongest Man, and people, like the fans would mock him. Mark Henry is his name. I don't know if he's still in the WWE, but he was just this, brick shithouse of a man, and they would mock him for being fat, and it's like, are you serious? Look at the guy. Like, do you not know what fat is? Because I don't think you do. Yeah, sure.
Even
his muscles are coated with a layer of fat, but like that's important to be strong and healthy.
Even sumo wrestlers, like they're fat. But I have seen some of these dudes lift up like a 600-pound man one-handed and knock him out of the ring. That's freaking amazing. And we're all beautiful. We just need to wrap our heads around it.
Yeah, we need to stop being so freaking basing our worth on our appearance. Like, Jesus Christ, nobody is worthy if you're basing it on your appearance, because appearance is subjective. Like, I don't find the same things attractive that Katy does or that you do. Like, I don't find the same things attractive that anybody else on the planet does. So, and you don't find the same things. Like, it doesn't mean anything. So it's just
like I constantly find, and I don't mean any offense to the actresses, but like I constantly find myself watching movies or TV, and they're like, "Oh, this person's so amazing," and everybody's just fawning all over this person. I'm like, I don't get it. I mean,
she looks exactly the same as all the other American, popular
I'm like,
actors.
other than she's terribly skinny, I mean, she seems nice enough, I guess. Way too skinny for my taste, but she seems fine. But I don't get why everybody's supposed to be fawning over her when there's so many other people out there that are so beautiful. But they stay pigeonholed down this. This is what we've been selling them as pretty, so this is what we think they want, so this is what we're going to keep giving them.
And women in media aren't allowed to get old either. So you'll see all these like older guys who are like with women about 20 years younger than them. And
like that interview that Maggie Gyllenhaal did, I think maybe with Graham Norton, and she's talking about how she auditioned to be, God, I think it might have been Robert Redford, which is insane because he's like 100 years old. But she had just turned 32 or something at the time, and they said she did not get the part because she was, direct quote, too old to play his love interest. It's like literally 30 or 40 years age difference. Like, he was old enough to be her dad, possibly granddad, and she was too old. And that's why people think that women, like, when the actresses age as they do, and they're like, she looks haggard, what happened to her? It's like, no, she doesn't. She looks exactly like she should for a woman of her age. And you just think she looks haggard because you see 60-year-old Dennis Quaid on screen with Jennifer Lawrence, and you think that that's what a woman his age looks like, and it's not.
No.
It's
Or
not.
you get these
She's
people
30.
that are like, you get these people like, oh, look what this person's done to their face with, plastic surgery, and they've ruined themselves. It's like, that's because you're forcing them to do
Yeah.
that sort of thing, because they don't think they're going to get jobs or anything if they don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And once you start messing around with the face, like those things, all those muscles are so special, and the skin is so tender. You start fooling around with that, and it doesn't look right anymore. And
No.
and you might look good for a picture, and that's part of the other problem is people are getting their faces tweaked to look good for Instagram, which won't be here forever. And
No.
but in reality, you look a mess because or like people that are getting their faces done so weird so they look good on stage from 30 feet away,
Mm-hmm.
but in person, like you look kind of like a monster, and
Yeah.
that just breaks my heart that they can't just age and be themselves and still go on stage and perform, and people like that. And people go, oh no, she looks nasty, she looks old, and or somebody's in their ear saying the people will say you look old when nobody said crap.
Mm.
I
A
just
lot of it is these like women's magazines like Vogue and OK and stuff like that, and it's like in one thing it's like, oh, embrace yourself, and then the next page it'll be like, this person's put on like 20 pounds or something, or not even
Yeah,
20
or it'll
pounds,
be
like 6 pounds,
or it'll be like,
something.
you need to do these butt exercises every day to keep your butt looking young. It's like, do you not see what you're doing here? Like,
Yeah.
embrace yourself no matter what you look like, but then the next page you're telling me that I need to change myself to make my butt look better, or specifically like do this makeup trick to make your eyes look more awake, and it's like,
look how
that's not
she
the way
let
my eyes
herself
look.
go because this 5 foot tall woman put on 10 pounds and is bending over in a bikini so her stomach's crunched, and
Which happens with everybody of any size, because if you do life drawing, everybody's got flabby bits no matter what size they are, and everyone's got wrinkly bits, and they've got cellulite, and they've got hairs in weird places, and it's just normal, it's natural, but we don't see what natural people look like anymore because we're not used to it. Like,
remember
they don't make it into media and TV.
That guy that got roasted on, I think he was on Reddit because he put up a screenshot of Aloy from the hell is the name of her game? But she had
the Peach Fuzz thing.
Yeah, the rendering was amazing, and they had the little, like, the sun was hitting her face, and you could see the sheen of Peach Fuzz. And he's like, why does she have a beard? And I'm like, yeah, and my very favorite response to that comment was like, tell me you've never been close to a woman, but without telling me that you've never been close to a woman. It's like, if you don't know that literally everybody has peach fuzz all over their bodies, and women have it, we have it on our faces. That's just the way we are.
Yeah.
And that's not a beard. It's not the same thing.
Or there's these guys that don't believe that women have hair on their arms, and it's like, yes, we do.
Do you know why I don't have hair? Like, I have like very few hairs. I have very, very naked arm, and the reason that I don't is because I'm fucking sick. I have hypothyroidism, and that's why I don't have any hair on my arms. Do you want that? Do you want to be sick in exchange for hairless arms? How about bite me?
Yes, please.
I mean, that's
and
the trouble.
What's gross is that there would be tons of women out there that would absolutely say yes, that they would love to have my forever chronic illness. Like, this is never going to go away. I will be hypothyroid for the rest of my life, and I will have to take a pill, or eventually I will die of it. And like, there are women out there that would gladly trade that for hairless arms, and it's insane.
To not have to wax their arms every day.
Yeah,
because the men expect them to be hairless.
How much more sucks about being chronically ill. If that's all you're thinking about, then you need to get your fucking priorities straight, because this is not fun. Yeah.
Oh God, anyway. I struggled for so long this morning with just the thought of getting in the shower. Like, the way my brain works makes me creative and makes me put out a lot of books really fast, but it also sucks in a lot of other ways. And I'm in constant pain, and I have trouble lifting my legs into the shower. And like, I sat there for hours dreading the thought of having to cut my hair and then shave my head and then get in the shower. And will I be able to get out safely by the end of all that, or will I fall in the bathroom? Mm-hmm. And that's not the fun stuff.
showers take so much energy. I know neurotypical people are always about how energizing showers are, and I'm just like, but they're not. They take so much energy.
Such a workout. And
Oh, I mean,
really
I
is.
absolutely love showers, and I will boil myself to death in a shower. But I feel crap afterwards because I'm literally like too hot to handle. It is this. My dad was like, "How can you even have a shower if I've left? If I haven't changed the dial on temperature? It's like, how can you stand it being that hot?" I was like, I don't know, just like cooking myself, I guess.
I think I have I've been thinking about this. Like, I have a toddler inside my brain that every time I have to do a task, like get ready to go outside or take a shower or brush my teeth in the morning, like this toddler has a tantrum because they don't like that task. And I think about this a lot because I'm like, I know that jumping in the shower, it's not that big of a deal. Yes, it's tiresome, but I can get through it. Yeah, I have no problem actually putting on my shoes, but just thinking about doing it and thinking about, the steps involved, like that toddler in my head has a tantrum about it, and I have to fight through that.
I'm sure there was a comic about that.
Ugh.
I'm sure I saw a comic about that years ago, and it was about a monkey, like a monkey that's controlling the brain, and it's something to do with that, not liking doing tasks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't remember. I'm gonna have to see if I can find that
involve,
because it
was
was quite a good
throwing, because no reasonable monkey comic would not involve poop throwing.
I don't think so, but it was something
Well,
about
that's
trying
a
to
bummer.
get something about trying to get the monkey that controls your brain to actually do the stuff it doesn't want to do, and it was a really good comic actually.
Oh shit, Katie. We're at an hour and a half. I was supposed to stop us.
Whoops.
I was like, we will not go past an hour because Katie's tired and I'm tired and this is.
I'm hurting.
Ah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I haven't spoken much about what I've been doing today.
I did say that there would be there is the distinct danger of inviting fish that involves getting into a good conversation and not realizing the passage of time. That is the risk that we take by inviting fish.
That's true.
Well, I mean, it's not quite done yet, but I think it's progressed.
Yeah, but look at the parts that you don't have finished underneath versus this.
Yeah.
Like what the? Like it looked done before that, and now look at it. It just, I don't.
Oh, and the thing is, she's gonna take it from here and make it so much richer and deeper, and it's. I love it.
He's turning into a redhead. Yeah.
But it's also like hurts my feelings a little bit, and then it challenges me. And then it makes me disappointed because I don't know if I'm ever going to meet that challenge. But I'm going to try.
But that's how I learned how to draw. I mean, like, it's my arm.
Well, and like, fish, you'd kick Katie's ass in line art.
You do.
Oh, yeah.
Katie has said it many times. I'm not being mean to her. She said it herself that she sucks at line art. And
I do.
But yet, I've watched you many times now just put a bunch of blobs of color onto your canvas and turn it into a whole finished painting, and I can't do that. I mean, ugh.
That's just the way that you learn to draw. I mean, I learned to draw by using real paint, so I think it makes a difference.
Nobody really taught me how to draw. I kind of worked out a lot of it on my own, and then I took art classes when I went to art school and thought that, oh yay, they're gonna finally show me the correct way to draw. Nope, they're just gonna dump a pile of trash in front of you and say, draw this.
Yeah.
That's how they teach in my school, in the school that I went to.
Yeah. Oh, I like
learn from
but...
comic books and cartoons.
I started out drawing pictures of horses.
Another reason why the internet would have been awesome as a kid.
Yeah, I started out drawing pictures of horses, and like the encyclopedia of horse breeds, and like I was like a real horse girl when I was younger, so it was like Horse and Pony magazine, that sort of thing, and I was drawing them constantly. So that's one of the few things I can actually draw without actually having a reference picture. I'll just draw horses straight off the top of my head. But
that's pretty cool.
Weirdly, humans, which is the species that I am, I can't draw as well. Yeah.
I feel you though. For the longest time, I struggled drawing ladies because I just always drew men for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And most of the time, when somebody would like ask you to draw something, it's draw Spider-Man or Batman or Superman, and so I got really good at that. and then had to figure out how to feminize the male figure to get it to look like a girl.
I
And I was
find it
like,
quite difficult.
the arms can't be that skinny. It can't be that small. But
Yeah.
like when you do it, oh man, that looks like a girl.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, I find drawing women really difficult. Actually, I mean, it's just the lack of features. Like they're so smooth, everything's so smooth. And if you put one
Mhm.
wrong long line out of place, then they look old.
Yeah, that's what
Oh.
you were saying last week on your stream, Fish, about how one misplaced line can ruin
Oh, yeah.
everything.
It doesn't take much. Like somebody said, I think it was in How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, that like each line adds like 10 years to a woman on her face. But
Yeah.
it's true. Like women are just seen as softer forms, and every hard line you put on there just changes the look of it so much. And
Yeah.
you got to learn how to get more out of less. And like the faces that I see people draw that really just blow my mind, like have the finest contour on the outside and like nothing on the inside. Eyelashes, maybe the inside of the mouth, and then everything else is done in colors and stuff. And it looks so
Oh, it's
beautiful and gorgeous.
so hard to do. I've tried it and it never looks right when I do it. It's just but I mean, it's one of these things though, that if you want to get better at doing something, you just make yourself draw it constantly. It doesn't
Over
matter if
and
you're
over
crap
and
to start
over.
with. You just gotta keep
We
drawing
all
it.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Then you get these people who are like, "Oh, it's your natural talent." It's like I wasn't born
No.
being able to paint like this. It's like it's
No.
practice.
That's why I'm not going to be. I'm never going to be I'm never going to get to the skill level that I'd love to be at, because if I'm not immediately good at something, my immediate instinct is to abandon it and move on. And
That's
so I have
an
it's
ADHD thing as well, though.
quite well. That's true too. But I find it quite difficult to keep pushing myself to draw and paint better. So I don't think I'll ever get to the level that I want to be. But
That's why I
continue to
dropped
improve.
painting for years, because the first time I tried it, I wasn't the best at it, so I quit. Because when I started drawing, I was. But that was in freaking kindergarten, and it wasn't
Oh.
hard to beat the other kindergartners.
Right.
Like, we only know how to draw 3 things, and I was a little bit better at one of them. And the teacher said I was good, and I took that praise and I ran with it. And that's the only reason. Like, sculpture I was naturally good at, because I had put so much effort into learning the forms through drawing, that sculpture came easy. But paint was using a whole different set of tools, a whole different medium, and we were doing a landscape, and I had never done a landscape before, even in drawing. And so I
Landscapes are
didn't know how
difficult.
to do trees and stuff. And
You see,
the
I've
trees sucked.
just as an example, this is how I used to draw stuff when I was a kid. So, because I can share it on my screen. Oops, hang on, that didn't work. Undo this. That's how I started out. I don't paint like that anymore. This was, oh god, long time ago. But,
That's still pretty good, though.
But yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, after quite a few years of practice, I can now paint like this. So, and that's, like 20 odd years of practice. But people don't want to put the effort in. And I think a lot of this thing with the. Yeah.
I can sculpt like that. So, I mean, like, I can do it. I can't make it look that good.
This is. Well, how old was I in 97? 11 years old. Yeah, so I was 11. But I'd already been drawing horses for a long time.
I was married and had a mortgage.
But, again, after 20 years of practice, that turned into this. And, so,
That's just...
Oh,
and those, like, gray hairs. Oh.
That horse was a
So
really
beautiful.
weird colour. I think it's a bay roan or something, but I was like, I've never painted a horse that colour before. But yeah, it was a commission that I did that one, but no, it's just, you have to put the practice in, and it does you do sometimes go through times when you don't feel like you're getting any better at all, but you are. Everything that you're doing is rewriting stuff to your brain,
And every little thing you learn to do better makes the whole thing better overall. Even
Yeah.
if nobody noticed that I figured out a better way to draw fingers, it helps make everything better and makes everything go faster and smoother. And and then
Yeah.
you add the fingers to the better way to draw the forearm, to the better way to draw the upper arm, to the better way to draw the collarbones, and it suddenly starts taking on a whole new look.
Yeah, because every little thing that you're doing, you can translate that into other stuff that you're drawing as well. Because it's like if you get the person I've mentioned it before, the thing about drawing the apple. I know I sent you it years ago. It's like every time you draw the apple, it's not that you're getting better at drawing apples. It's that it's teaching your brain how to see the apple and how to translate what you're seeing onto a piece of paper. So that as you're getting better at drawing the apple over and over again, you then get better at drawing other things, even though you're not drawing them. you're just drawing apples constantly. Right. That was such a great thing. I'll have to see if I can find it again, but it's.
I know I freaked out the first time I tried to draw a couch, and it came out so good. But I had learned so many other little tricks along the way, learning to draw, that I tried to draw this thing I'd never drawn before, and it looked pretty good. The proportions were off, but it looked really good for a first try. And I wasn't used to my first tries at something coming out that good, and that's when I realized I was really improving.
Excellent.
Well, I think we should probably call it a day, because I've been up for a long time now.
And I'd like to believe that Katie's going to go to bed after this, but she's not. Let's be honest.
You would like to believe that, but it's not going to be true.
I don't believe your lies, sir.
Yeah, I've got hooked on Power Wash Simulator, and it's
such a good game, though.
It is a good game.
Oh, it's so soothing.
And it's so weird, but it is really good, and So.
Well, to anybody who is watching this after we're done streaming and you're watching it after the fact, do comment and like and share, and Katie will read all your comments. She'll get the comments, she'll reply. That's what she does. She's cool like that. And then maybe join us next week for UHS Presents. I can't remember what we're doing, but
was it something about villains?
Oh, right, yeah. Villains who had a point. Oh, you know what? Forgot to post that question. Better do that now while I'm thinking about it. And then, what Katie draws is Wednesdays at 5 Eastern. Yeah. And you can come back here and watch that.
And everyone needs to watch Fish's drawing show as well.
And School of Fish. Tuesday mornings is the free one, and if you become a patron, then you can watch the Thursday morning one as well.
And actually, I'm planning on doing tomorrow's free for everybody because I missed Tuesday because I was driving across the countryside. That's why we're in there painting now, so that it can be ready to film. And might be a little echoey in that room, but
surprised at how I got up on Tuesday and I got to doing my stuff, and then I sat down for breakfast and okay, I'm gonna have my breakfast and watch Fish's stream, and then I'll get going and doing stuff, and then I was like, oh. And I was surprised at how much I was I've gotten used to Tuesday mornings.
And I was totally gonna do it, and then I got a deal on some cabinets I'm putting in there, and had to drive 2 hours.
Gotta do,
I was at the supermarket and I rushed back home. I was like, I've got to get home because Fish is on. It's like, oh.
Look what you did to us, Fish.
We need our.
Well, I'll definitely if you're streaming tomorrow free, I'll definitely be there. And as soon as I can afford to throw a couple bucks at you for Patreon, I'm absolutely subscribing to get to that second stream because it is extremely fun to watch. I did not, not everybody's art streams are as fun to watch, but yours are.
And you missed the story about the Lake of Snakes. Yeah.
Yeah. I love y'all, but I gotta go.
Yeah.
My wife's here to help me get out of this chair because my back hurts so bad.
All right.
So.
Let's get
thanks
going
for joining
then.
Us first,
yes,
so.
thank you for coming. And we'll see y'all next time we stream. Come see Fish tomorrow. And the rest of us next week. Bye.
Bye.